Do you want to discover more joy, peace, and freedom with food, exercise, and your body? Here we bring a compassionate, holistic, and sustainable approach to fitness so you can fully enjoy the life you want and express your unique self with the world. I'm Michelle Roscoe, and I want to help you find fitness freedom. I'm so glad you're here. Today, when this episode is being released, it is Independence Day in America, and it's generally a day we celebrate those who came to this country and fought to become independent. We generally celebrate it by grilling food, fireworks, watching fireworks, and wearing lots of red, white, and blue. Today, though, I want to celebrate a different kind of freedom. I want to celebrate freedom to live the life you want to live, freedom to express your full self. This podcast, as you know, as you can see, is called Fitness Freedom because fitness is one of the best ways we can experience freedom in our lives. Freedom to go for what we really want because we feel confident in our body and in ourselves. Freedom to do whatever activity we want because we have the strength, the stamina, the energy, the mobility to do so. Freedom to own and care for our bodies just as they are because we're free from those external expectations about how we should look or what we should do, and free from that internal critic. Freedom is something that we often don't appreciate until it's taken away from us. Growing up, I didn't have many freedoms. I grew up in a strict religious household. I was homeschooled and isolated from the world. And I was a girl in an extremely sexist world. Today, I did an inner child exercise with my therapist today, and I met with my teenage self. It was a beautiful, moving experience. And I could see sitting in the room with that teenage self as my adult self, how little freedom my teenage self had. I could see how she yearned for connection, but was isolated without peers in her homeschooled Christian church bubble. I could see how she couldn't be her full queer self. I could see how she was isolated from the world in many ways. I could see how her life revolved around church and school and whatever she could find on the internet, and how she resorted to writing in her journal all the time as her best friend, how she moved to music, turned to music to give her comfort. I could see how little freedom she had, and it made me sad for her. So when trying to offer her words of comfort, at first I couldn't find them. But as I thought about it, I could see how those experiences shaped her desire to create a life of freedom and eventually to help others do the same. And so I told her that. I gave her a hug and I told her to be patient, that she would be able to create the life that she wanted. And that is something that is so important to me. It has been and it still is. Throughout my life, I've sought freedom in so many ways, traveling, how it opens your mind to different parts of the world, how the culture that you grew up in, the rules don't apply in other countries. I've resorted to substances, drinking a lot, partying, being loose and wild to express freedom. I've expressed freedom in coming out and showing my full self with the world. I've expressed freedom in creating my own business, becoming my own boss, creating my own schedule. I've expressed freedom in my relationships, who I choose to be around, who I choose to say no to. And I can also see, looking back, how when I didn't have much freedom, I resorted to disordered eating. And I want to give a trigger warning here for a few minutes as I talk about this seeking to control food and exercise as a way to feel freedom. I hyperfixated on my weight. I hyperfixated on food, how many calories went in my body, how much I burned through exercise, because fitness was one area that I felt I had freedom to choose in. And I used that quote unquote freedom to destroy myself, only to realize later it wasn't freedom, it was a prison. And it took years to get out of that prison and discover true freedom in my body. And that came with 5 things. And I'm going to share those 5 things with you. It came with acceptance, desire, education, support, and habits, or small changes over time. I had to accept myself, which was the hardest thing to do, just as I was, no matter how much I weighed, how I ate, how I looked. And I had to let my desire for change to be greater than my desire to stay in the comfortable familiar. I had to educate myself on how my body works and understanding my brain and how to make real changes. I had to get outside support to recover and to help me on my journey. And day after day after day after day, I had to make small incremental changes over time. And by the way, the thoughts are the first ones that need to be changed and the hardest ones to change. Because I've learned that no matter how much freedom I've had in my life, perceived, how much I've been able to experience, we as humans always have the freedom to choose the thoughts that we think, the attitude that we have, and the life that we want. Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, he was a Holocaust survivor, and he talks about his experiences in the camps when all their freedoms were stripped from them. They were in the worst human conditions that you could imagine, starving, working to the bone. He said, this man who experienced all of this and who witnessed the most horrific human suffering said, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. So today, I'm tearing up a little bit because I'm thinking we always have how much power we always have, even if it's the last of our power, we always have the power to choose our attitude and to choose our own way. So today I want to remind you that you have freedom. You have the freedom to choose your attitude about where you're at in life. You have the power to create change. You have the power to make different choices for different results. You have the power to imagine what you truly want for your own life and to make choices today and to continue to make those choices over and over that will make those desires a reality in your life. You have that freedom right now, today. You have the freedom and the power to create the life that you want. So I want to ask you, what attitude do you want to have about your current circumstances? What kind of life do you want to live? And what choices will you make in order to make that a reality? Because just like this, the name of this podcast, that's what fitness is all about. It's about freedom. When you have your health, you have the strength and energy to do what you want. You have the confidence to go after what you want. You're free from those expectations and criticisms about your body. You're free from the tyranny of food and exercise rules. You're free to accept yourself and to love yourself. And you have that freedom, not tomorrow, not yesterday, but today, right now. You have that freedom and the power to create the life you want. I went through the experiences that I did growing up, not just to discover and create freedom for myself, but to help others do the same. And I have dedicated my life to helping others discover fitness freedom, to know the joy and peace of no longer being controlled by food, ruled by exercise, restrained by numbers, to be able to be as pain-free and as energetic as possible in order to live life fully, to express your unique and full self with the world. If you want support in this, I created a 6-month program called the Holy Grail of Holistic Health. It focuses on helping you reach your fitness goals and become your healthiest self inside and out in a compassionate, holistic, and sustainable way. So in those 6 months, you're getting the mindset, those thoughts, those important thoughts that you need to change in order to make healthy choices more obvious and easy. It gives you the workouts to help support you on your journey, the nutrition guidance. It gives you everything that you could need to not only reach your goals, but to create the life that you want to live through your health, to become the hero of your own health, body, and life. And truly, if you've been curious about working with me, this is the best way to do it. And it's not really me, it's not just me, it's the power of education, it's the power of science, it's the power of accepting yourself and choosing yourself and showing up over and over again, which I want to help you do in that Holy Grail of Holistic Health. I would love to hear more about your experience with freedom, whether it's with fitness or just your life in general. If you could relate to my story at all about not having the freedom or creating a life of freedom for yourself and how you do that. I'd just love to hear your thoughts. So you can reach out to me at michelle@mlroscoe.com or on Instagram at Michelle Lynn Roscoe. You can also find me on Facebook. Search my name. You can go to my website, mlroscoe.com. There's so many ways that you can reach out to me. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear what you have to share. And if you're interested in joining the Holy Grail of Holistic Health, the link is in the show notes. You could join as soon as today. There's really no reason not to. I hope you enjoy your day of freedom and create the life that you truly, deeply desire.